Hello, my name is Hugo, I'm a Los Angeles based DP. I've been asked a lot to make a video about lenses, so there we go, I'll try to fulfill this request. Lenses is a very subjective topic, therefore there is no exactly right or wrong, I'll be just sharing my opinion from my personal experience. Lenses is something that's sometimes hard to describe in words. It's more about feelings which you can't always explain, but certainly can feel. Choices. These days on the market we have such a big variety of different options, with absolutely different pricing. Some lenses can cost $100 and some can cost $50,000. I'm gonna talk about lenses I used most, and as a result some of them I own. We all know that lenses separate as still lenses and cinema glass, and there are plenty of videos that explain the difference between them. I own and use both still and cinema lenses because each kind has own advantages. Still lenses are, of course, price and autofocus. Cinema glass is a manual focus only, but with all gearings and more pristine optical qualities. But there are many projects where an expensive cinema glass just won't be appreciated, and quite honestly won't be even noticeable to even a trained eye unless compared side to side. Projects like interviews, YouTube videos, real estate, weddings, documentaries, low-budget music videos and promo corporate stuff. I'd rather use a still glass. It's more price effective and autofocus can be very handy. Most of my still glass are Canon L series. As long as the lens somewhere in the middle price range, it should have a decent quality that should be enough for most cases. Still glass, if it's a prime, usually super fast. Prime Canon lenses easily can open up to f1.4, sometimes even f1.2, where cinema glass rarely opens wider than t2. Besides Canon glass, there are many other manufacturers that make lenses as good. I also have a set of Rokinon Cine lenses, which is a hybrid of steel glass wrapped in a Cine casing with the gear rings and all that. The value of this set is incredible. You can get a 4 lens set, 24, 35, 50, 85, all open to T1.5, and all is gonna cost you about $1,800 if you buy it new, which makes it $450 an average per lens, which is cheap even in the steel glass market. Up to date, I think it's the best value of all. Climbing up to bigger budget projects where demand is more than a steel glass, where you need to use a follow focus and where you need a glass with no name, there are many options to choose from. I personally shot on many different lenses and I can give you a few that I prefer over others. If I had to pick top 5 spherical lenses, I'd pick Cookon 4, Angenieux Optimo, Master Primes, Signature Primes and Ultra Primes. I'll briefly explain what I like of each of them, considering for some people they may look pretty much identical, and no wonder, since all this glass is pretty much a modern, clean looking glass, and it takes time and experience of being a cinematographer and experience of using the glass to have an understanding how they differ from each other. Cook optics are famous by all known expression Cook look, but no one can actually explain what Cook look is. As I said earlier, lens is a feeling most of the times that is hard to describe. Cookon 4 is a warm glass with slightly blooming highlights and pleasing skin tones. And the lenses have a little bit more of three-dimensional rendering than others, where background and foreground feel more distant, which helps to separate your subjects. They are not small and not light lenses by any means, but they build very robust with great mechanics. They all open to T2, which is pretty much a standard in Cine Prime lenses. Going forward, Angenieux is the brand that is famous by making the best cinema zooms. Before I was introduced to these incredible lenses, I had a perception that zoom lenses can't be as sharp as primes, can have great optical qualities as primes overall, but I was so wrong. Angenieux Optimo are incredible lenses with incredible optical qualities that not all prime lenses have. They are very sharp, probably the sharpest lenses from all 5 choices I listed. But too sharp isn't good too, because right now digital sensors give us so much resolution that many cinematographers use filtration to cut the edge of digital sharpness. But Angenieux lenses somehow magically are very sharp but still remain to be very filmic and have beautiful skin tones, and like Cookon 4 have a warm tint and lightly blooming highlights. Working with zoom lenses can speed up overall filming process significantly. because you don't have to change lenses as much as you would need to do that when you shoot with primes. I once shot an entire feature film using only one lens, 30 to 80mm, which saved me lots of time without being limited in changing focal length. And I can't even say that size and weight is an issue, since most of them are relatively small and lightweight. The only drawback is zoom lenses can be as fast as primes, and most of Ingenue Optimo can go as wide as t2.8, which is not bad at all, and only one stop less than most of cine primes. And quite honestly, with such low light capability of digital sensors these days, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Master primes. These are probably the most used and most known lenses in the industry. They are famous by being super fast. They all open to t1.3, which is insanely fast. And there are only a few options on the market that can go as fast, such as Canon K35, which is very rare lenses and they open to t1.4, but they are not even close to retain the sharpness and aberration control as master primes. Unlike Cook and Ingenue, ARRI lenses are more on the cooler side. Master primes aren't an exception. They have a pleasant cyan tint that most pronounced when lens flares. They seem not to have any distortions even on ultra-wide lenses. As a downside of these lenses is the cost, of course. They're very expensive, and a large size and weight. Signature primes are new incredible glass from ARRI that even a little bit larger in housing than master primes, but a little lighter. The lenses feature larger frame coverage and beautiful creamy bokeh. They open to t1.8. Optically, they're pretty much ideal, but it comes to a price. They aren't cheap. ARRI also recently presented a line of signature zooms that are great too, but way larger than Ingenue zooms. And fifth in my list is Ultra Primes. ARRI Ultra Primes, these might be my favorite spherical lenses simply because they check all the boxes. Very clean, no distortion, a wide lineup to choose from, controlled flare, and when it flares beautifully. No overly sharp, but can't call them soft by any means. Beautiful neutral skin tones, they just have some kind of magic to them, you know? And they are smallest from all the lenses I mentioned earlier. They are just really small, which is great for Steadicam, gimbals, and handheld operating where size matters. They open as wide as t1.9, and as a bonus they feature a wide image circle, which allows to use these lenses on a larger frame sensors. Starting from 20mm, you can use them on Alexa large frame sensors in 16:9 mode. Dark, TV show on Netflix, was shot mostly with Ultra Prime 65mm on ARRI Alexa 65, and this camera has the huge sensor, and they didn't use any adapters to make this lens work. That's quite extraordinary. So all these lenses feature a modern, clean and sharp look with controlled flares, which is pretty universal in filming all kind of projects. When it comes to lenses with more character and more optical flaws, I prefer anamorphic glass. Anamorphics have all the flaws that I expect to get, such as flares, distortion, focus fall off, and etc. I truly love anamorphic look. I think it has a pure cinematic look to it. So if I had to pick anamorphic lenses, it would definitely first of all has to be 2x anamorphics, because I don't feel like 1.3 or even 1.8 anamorphics have enough squeeze. So my top 5 lenses are Master Anamorphics, Cookon Anamorphics, Panavision Tseries, Atlas Orion, and Todd Ayo. Master Anamorphics probably have least character. They are the cleanest anamorphics probably from all anamorphic lenses on the market. They feature minimal distortion, minimal aberrations, minimal focus breathing and flaring. They are so clinical that sometimes they can be taken for a spherical. And the only reason they are on my list is because some projects require a clean look but still getting the wide aspect ratio of anamorphics. They open to 1.9, which is pretty fast as far for anamorphics, since anamorphics are way more complex construction than spherical lenses and they have a lot more elements, therefore they are way more expensive. Cookon anamorphics. Unlike master anamorphics, they have a lot more character, but at the same time they balance from going too far like Kowa or Loma anamorphics. They have a nice distortion and beautiful creamy oval bokeh, and they flare way easier. These lenses are just a great balance in between dirty and clean look. Panavision Tseries are They're legendary lenses, and they were used on tons of famous movies we all have seen. They feature close focus and t2.3 aperture and pretty good aberration control and glare resistance. But the most key feature is the flare. Famous Panavision flare that is so recognizable in movies such as Star Wars, Transformers, and many other action movies. Atlas Orion. Atlas Orion anamorphics are modern, affordable lenses that are pretty much inspired by previously mentioned Panavision T-series. They even look like them, very much alike. Overall, they share many similar qualities, including the flare that we all like. They also feature a close focus, which is handy when it comes to shoot product photography. So in many cases you can get away without using diopters. The lenses are fast and open to T2. Atlas Orion have two personalities. And if you want to get a messy look with lots of distortion and soft and strong focus fall off, then you'll open them to T2. And if your project requires a clean look, then you just close them to T4 and you get a sharp, modern, low distortion, minimal focus breathing, minimal chromatic aberrations and beautiful, accurately shaped oval bokeh. This lens pretty much becomes a master anamorphics, and don't be misled by perception that T4 doesn't give enough shallow depth of field. In the anamorphic world, everything pretty much doubles. T4 on anamorphic is gonna give you a shallow depth of field as spherical at T2, so it's more than enough. The combination of price and lens qualities of this lens makes this lens one of my favorite, and I even purchased them for my rental family. The last on my list is Todd Ayo. Not many people actually know about this lens or ever heard, since it's pretty rare, but they feature probably the most character out of all anamorphic lenses out there. In terms of specs, these lenses are pretty insane. They are based on Canon K35, therefore they have a super fast aperture t1.4 and they cover large frame sensors, which isn't common among anamorphic lenses. Canon K35 by itself is a very vintage looking lens with creamy skin tones and bloomy highlights and interesting bokeh, but an anamorphic element is embracing all that to another level. So these are definitely not clean lenses, but if you're looking to add character to your look, these lenses will give you loads of it. But it comes at a price as well. They aren't cheap, but totally worth trying when you get a chance. So this is my list of favorite glass. I hope this video had some useful information for you and probably was entertaining. Thank you for your time. Bye.